Pep Guardiola has left Manchester City. What is it? 593 matches, 423 wins, 93 defeats, and 77 draws with a 71% win rate, 2.3 points per game. He is definitely, without any question, Manchester City's greatest ever manager. Was, is, and always will be Manchester City's greatest ever manager. One of the greatest, in my opinion, top two managers in Premier League history, and in my opinion, the greatest coach of all time. I know there's debates going around between him and Sir Alex Ferguson. I'm not going to delve onto it too much because this is about Pep Guardiola, but just to give you my opinions on it, the greatest manager of all time, Sir Alex, but the greatest coach is Pep Guardiola, taking into account how you transformed Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and Manchester City. But what I want to say is that he was definitely the King Von of coaches slash managers, because the amount of times he has broke my heart 24/7 needs to be studied, because what he used to do in terms of man management, style of play, getting the very best out of players, multiple players, having, you can say he had three great Manchester City sides, and he still manages to perform above the players' level. And also, like he said, another manager, Jurgen Klopp, made him a better manager. So, if I take you through his records in terms of what he's won, he's got 6 Premier League titles, included 4 in a row, which has never been done before he came into the league. 3 FA Cups, 5 League Cups, a Champions League, Super Cup, FIFA Club World Cup, Community Shield. He has done it all in England. And the records that this man has installed in the Premier League, in terms of the heights that he took the Premier League, in terms of points total, consecutive wins, the amount of points that you needed to win the league, is staggering. It's absolutely staggering. When he came into Manchester City, it's his first season. He never had the players that would have made him the manager that he is today, and he managed to get third place finish. He had the likes of Nolito, Kalishi, I believe. Now Kolarov left at them. No, Kolarov was still there. He had Kolarov, Kalishi, Mangala, Kelechi Iheanacho. He had players of that ilk in it, mixed with the companies, the De Bruynes, the David Silvas, the Agueros. He brought in Jesus in that January transfer window as well. And you can tell that the Premier League was different from the leagues that he was in, because it was more physically demanded, it was more quick, it was more like defenders was literally giving you no time to, have time on the ball. So he definitely learnt from that. And then the 17-18 season, all the way to his last season at Manchester City, an era of dominance, in my humble opinion. 17-18, 100 points. The only side ever in English football history to reach 100 points. But it's not just the points total, it's the way he managed to reach 100 points. The style of football that he played that season was absolutely ridiculous. Like, in terms of, like, destroying teams, playing some of the best football that you'll ever see. Sane, Sterling down the wings with Aguero getting 20 plus goals. Sane, David Silva, De Bruyne was moving crazy that season. Otamendi was one of the best defenders in the league at the time. And yeah, man, he had Ederson in goal, because obviously he said it before. His biggest regret was not giving Joe Hart a chance to showcase how good he was. Because Joe Hart is one of the most underrated goalkeepers in the Premier League era. And you can tell that Pep Guardiola didn't fancy him from the get-go, so he brought in Bravo. That didn't work out, so he managed to get Ederson, and what a signing did that turn out to be. But in that 17-18 season, 32 wins, 2 defeats, 4 draws, 18 consecutive wins. Broke the record, biggest goal difference, biggest points between first to second place, which was 19 points, the difference with Manchester United. And the most goals in the Premier League season, most away wins. Like, he took the mick that season. He absolutely took the mick. And yeah, man, you're probably thinking, cool, if that's the greatest team in Premier League history, how can he get better from that? Then the next season, 18-19, he had us under Jurgen Klopp, which I believe is our greatest team in the Premier League era. 18-19, win after win, destroying teams, defensive record off the scales, which 22 goals conceded. He still managed to get 2 points worse than the season before we amassed 100 points. 98 points, 40 wins in a row since from January till May to win the league by 1 point. That showed determination, that showed heart, that showed desire, that also showed in-game management, tactics to get the best, to squeeze every juice out of the players that he had in his disposal. And that City team was cracked. It was filled with so many world-class players. You had Gundogan, you had Fernandinho, you had, obviously, Bernardo Silva, you had Sterling, you had Aguero, you had Mahrez that he added to the team now in them times. John Stones. Like, he definitely managed to get the very best out of the players, entertain the fans, put football in awe. He went on to win domestic treble, which no team has done in English football history. No team has done. And it was looking like he was taking the Premier League into new heights with the amount of... If you take everything into consideration, I know the money situation, you know, he had everything that went his way, but you still have to get the best out of your team to deal with the egos that you have in the dressing room, to make sure that they buy into your ideas. And once you do that, they'll play for you and ride out for you no matter what. And that's exactly what the players that I mentioned did. Obviously, 1920, you know, we won the league at Atlanta, 18 points. Manchester City still managed to score 100 goals that season, but the defence, when they lost Laporte due to injury and Company left, definitely was their Achilles heel. But he came back with that. Because the 2020-21 season, which was no fan stadium, from August till December, there was languishing in the mid-table, if I'm not mistaken. I think there was either 10th or 12th, I remember. And then Pep Guardiola, like he normally does, found a way to get the right system to suit the personnel, the right tactics, the right motivation he used. And from that point on, in all competitions, they won like 21 games in all competition to not only pull clear in the Premier League to win their third Premier League title under Pep Guardiola, but also they was doing works in the Champions League, FA Cup, League Cup. So we were probably thinking, my goodness, he can actually win a quadruple the way he was moving. But it didn't work out for him in terms of quadruple. Semi-final loss to Chelsea. Champions League final loss to Chelsea. But he still managed to win the league with 12 points the difference, 86 points, winning it with 4 games to go. And he won the League Cup for the 4th year in a row. 4 years in a row, he monopolised the League Cup. It was wraps from the get-go. When Manchester City kick-started their League Cup journey, it was wraps. From 2018 to 2021, wraps. And that goes to show he was a serial winner that would do everything there is to win. He was obsessed with football. And he was, in my opinion, he was the best manager in the world. Jurgen Klopp was second for me, but Pep Guardiola was the man. And in the 21-22 season, one of our great teams, 21-22, took them down to the last day. Unfortunately, it couldn't happen as Pep Guardiola. Robertson said it yesterday. We would have won more Premier Leagues if it wasn't for this man, Pep Guardiola. Because another team, he's obviously the likes of David Silva, like the core sport of Manchester City's start to dominate in Premier Leagues was gone. They added the likes of Ruben Diaz. They added who else did they add in that time? Jack Grealish got added. Obviously, people say he didn't live up to the price tag, which I fully agree, but he still contributed to what happened the following season from 21-22. And he managed to play the false nine. He won back-to-back league titles with quick wingers and like quick style of football, that direct football mixed with the possession. He won back-to-back league titles with a false nine system, which you will have De Bruyne, Gundogan, Foden, that playing in that role with Jesus out at wide at times. That false nine system that he had was fluid as hell. It was carving teams open, and they won the league with 93 points. We finished second with 92. I think they got 28 wins. I think they had 28 wins or 29 wins in that season. And the embodiment of Pep Guardiola is going on long winning runs to win the league. Long winning runs. It will either go on an 18-game winning run or a 14-game winning run or a 12-game winning run. Like, towards the end of the season, you knew what time it was. Pep Guardiola gets the troops together, they go on a mad winning run and they win the league. That was his trademark, and it happened literally season after season after season after season. And then the next season, that's when Arsenal came into the fray, that they showcased themselves as the next team to challenge, playing scintillating football. His assistant at the time, the assistant to Manchester City's league titles in 2017, 2018, 2018, 2019, Mikel Arteta was now manager. He was looking to get one over his teacher and beat him to the Premier League title. And from a long way, what was it, 292 days, it was looking like it was going to do that. But Pep Guardiola, in head-to-head meetings, managed to beat Mikel Arteta's Arsenal. He found a way, because he was chopping and changing that season. He was chopping and changing. Many people was questioning if Manchester City have the desire. Did they win too much? Is it now a new era to start? Pep Guardiola and the players was like, nah, this is not happening. Rodri was now one of the senior leaders. They added in Erling Haaland as well, who had quite possibly in many people's eyes, one of the greatest individual seasons in football history. And yeah, man, they went on to win the league. I think they went on a 12-game winning run, beating Liverpool, beating Chelsea, beating Arsenal in that run. Everton 3-0 to win their third league title in a row, which was the first time a team has gone 3 years consecutively retaining their league since Manchester United from 2007-8, no, from 06-07 to 08-09. So he was making history, left, right, and centre. Pep Guardiola. He was making history, adapted. He went with the 4 centre backs, like personnels in defence to make it more physical, blend of technical quality. And not only did he manage to win the league for the third year in a row, but he managed to win a treble, an FA Cup, and the Champions League that I've been craving for so long. Because Pep Guardiola in the Champions League, it was looking peak because he was either losing to Monaco or Liverpool or getting VAR decision going against their way against Tottenham, then losing to Lyon 3-1, then losing the final, and then that Real Madrid situation in 21-22 when they was so close to reaching the Champions League final, and then Real Madrid's black magic turned out to upset them. The next season, they weren't going to mess around this time. Leipzig smashed them up like 7-1. Bayern Munich got past them. Real Madrid, one of the greatest team performances in Champions League history. At the Etihad, 4-0, whitewash, wasn't even close. Man, Real Madrid couldn't get near them. And then Inter Milan, Rodri delivered history to Manchester City as they won the treble. So you're thinking the next season, what can they do now? Have they achieved too much? But there was history in sight to become the first English side in history to win 4 league titles in a row. And from August to I think September, they went on like a 5-6 game winning run. So you're probably thinking, yep, the mentality is still there, the desire is still there. They still want to achieve more. And then when they lost to Wolves, that's when people was like, oh, they're human. And then from when they lost 1-0 to Aston Villa, which they got played off the park, because they went on a bad run of form. And I think they drew 3-4 league games in a row, and then they lost to Villa. It was probably thinking, and then Will's coming into the frame in terms of making ourselves as title contenders. Arsenal was still like carry on the good works from their previous season when they finished second. So you're probably thinking, how can Pep Guardiola squeeze the last juice to make history? He found a way to do it. Phil Foden turned out to be the main man for Manchester City. Rodri was still being imperious. De Bruyne was having injuries here or there, but when he came back, he still managed to get like 10 plus assists in the league. Like the mentality that he installed in the players to get over the line was absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. You could say the football wasn't great at times, but they still managed to find a way to get points when needed, because they didn't beat us this season. They didn't beat Arsenal that season. Against the top side, they was kind of poor Manchester City that season. But they done what they need to do to beat the teams that they should be beating, and that's what got them over the line as they amassed 91 points to Arsenal 89, whilst we finished 82 points in Klopp's last season, and they went on to win the league for the 4th year in a row. 4 years in a row. And then obviously the season before, the drop-off did eventually happen. Previous seasons prior to the 24-25 season, people was asking the question, when's Manchester City going to drop off? It's kind of incredible that they still haven't dropped off. This is an era of dominance that's never going to be replicated again. The 115 charges is still yet to be viewed, which means we're still holding on to what could potentially happen to Pep Guardiola. That in terms of, will people respect the achievement that he had at Manchester City? Is any other side that achieved what Manchester City have achieved in Pep Guardiola's reign, they'll be undisputed. 24-25, they finished third after we won the league. And now this season, Arsenal managed to win the league for the first time in 22 years. It was a transitional season for Manchester City, in my opinion. New players like that, so Shirky, Ryan Deers, Yuri, Nico O'Reilly, breakout season. I don't think they were quite ready to win the league that season. I don't think they were ready to win the league this season. They weren't ready, and it showed as they lost their final day of the season to finish 7 points behind Arsenal. They weren't ready, but Pep Guardiola and Manchester City still manages to beat Arsenal 2 times this season to win the Carabao Cup. And also they won the FA Cup. So Pep Guardiola bowed out with a domestic double to make it 20 trophies in his glittering career at Manchester City. That is the legacy that he has left. And that is the legacy that no one will ever replicate ever again. Enzo Maresca is probably going to take charge of Manchester City. And let's see what he's made of, Enzo Maresca. Because I like Enzo Maresca. I think his work at Chelsea was very underrated. But as for Pep Guardiola, He is inevitable. He is undeniable. So, yeah, man. That's a rundown of Pep Guardiola's time at Manchester City, how he broke records, what his legacy will leave, how his legacy will be viewed. And yeah, man, Pep Guardiola, nightmare. Absolute nightmare. But all-time a great. Then, now, forever. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know down in the comments where would you rank Pep Guardiola in terms of Premier League history, in terms of managers, in world football, in terms of coaches, whatever. And until then, I'm out. Peace.